the night my best friend asked me to lie to the police. I realized her husband's secret wasn't even the worst part. My phone buzzed across the kitchen table at 12:43 p.m. Rattling beside a mug of tea gone cold. The dishwasher hummed like nothing in my life was about to split open. Mara's name flashed on the screen. "Please," she whispered when I answered. "If anyone calls, say Nolan was with us last night. Say we all had dinner." My mouth went dry. My coat still hung over the chair from visiting Mom at the nursing home, where I had seen Nolan alone outside the locked storage room, holding a key he had no reason to have. "Mara," I said. "What happened?" She only cried harder. Before that call, our lives had been boring in the way I used to pray for. Mara and I met 8 years earlier in a community pottery class in the basement of the old library. Neither of us could center clay. Mine folded like wet cake. Hers spun off the wheel and smacked her sweatshirt. We laughed so hard the instructor asked if we needed air. After that, we became the kind of friends who knew each other's grocery orders and family disappointments. We sent photos of burnt toast, swollen ankles, ugly waiting room carpet. When my mother moved into Willowden care, Mara helped me label every cardigan with a black laundry marker. When her father left the stove on twice in 1 week, I sat beside her in the ER until sunrise, feeding quarters into a vending machine for coffee that tasted like pennies. Our refrigerators looked almost same. Mine had Mom's cardiology appointment pinned beside coupons in a peach-shaped magnet. Mara's had her dad's neurologist schedule, color-coded in blue. We both carried pharmacy bags in our purses, bottles clicking against lip balm and receipts. At 3, one of us texted, "Drink water, old lady." The other sent back skull emoji. Nolan fit into that world so neatly. I never questioned him. He was not flashy charming. He was useful charming. He fixed loose cabinet handles without making show of it. He replaced my porch bulb after I mentioned coming home to dark steps. Once, when Mom's walker kept sticking, he crouched in her room with a screwdriver between his teeth and had her laughing before he finished tightening the brake. "Handsome and handy," Mom said after he left, patting her silver hair like girl at dance. "Married," I reminded her. "To our Mara," she said. "Good. She deserves steady." I believe that too. On Sundays, Nolan brought cinnamon rolls to the care home and listened while old men explained baseball games from 1972. Some evenings, Mara called while scraping burned toast into trash, and his voice drifted behind her, calm and teasing. "I like it crunchy." That was life I thought we had. Messy calendars, pill organizers, light bills, coffee in paper cups, friendship held together by errands and fear of losing our parents. So when Mara whispered his name into my phone like broken glass, I still pictured him tightening Mom's walker, smiling up at her like no harm could ever come from his hands. First time I saw an Olin where he should not have been. I almost forgave my own eyes because he looked so ordinary. Tuesday afternoon at Willowden always had same tired rhythm. Lemon cleaner over damp floors. Overcooked carrots drifting from kitchen. Television to loud and lounge. Mom had beaten meat Weiss at gin rummy and was pretending not to enjoy it. Tapping cards square with one crooked finger. Down hall, someone had taped glittery BINGOTIODAY sign beside nurse's station. Tilted enough to bother me. Near fish tank. Wheelchair squeaked in slow circles while Mr. Delaney scolded soap opera characters like they owed him rent. I went to refill Mom's plastic water cup. Halfway to dispenser, I saw him. Nolan stood at far end of hall. Outside small records office near locked storage room. For 1 second, my mind made wrong picture make sense. Maybe Mara had mixed up dates. Maybe his supplier trip was tomorrow. Maybe he had come to fix loose handrail again. Because Nolan was always that man. Sleeves pushed up, screwdriver in pocket, making nurses laugh. Then I saw a yellow envelope in his hand. Thick one, legal size, corners worn soft from being carried too tightly. His visitor sticker stick crooked on his navy jacket, peeling at one edge. Same jacket with torn cuff Mara kept saying she would mend. "Nolan?" I called. He jerked like I had touched live wire. Envelope bent in his fist. His face went empty first, then scared, then normal. To normal. Like watching someone shut drawer before you could see what was inside. Hey, he said, voice bright and drawl. Didn't know you'd be here. My mother lives here. I gave small laugh, ashamed of how sharp it sounded. Right, of course. His eyes slid to exit, then back to record store. I was dropping something off for a friend. A friend here? Not here. He tucked envelope under arm. Church thing. People ask me for help with paperwork. I nodded because nodding was easier than asking why church paperwork lived beside medical records. Easier than saying Mara told me he was in Cincinnati. Easier than admitting suspicion had already stepped into room and taken coat off. Mom would be happy to see you, I said. His smile flickered. Can't today. Running late. Then he walked away fast. Rubber soles quiet on polished floor. Yellow envelope pressed against ribs like it might breathe. That evening, Mara called while I was sorting Mom's pharmacy receipts by day. Because that was what I did when I didn't want to think. Her name lit up my phone, and I stared at it like it might accuse me first. Hey, she said when I put her on speaker. Tired, but normal. To normal. You survived Willowden? Barely. They served meatloaf again. So Mom wrote complaint on napkin. Mara F. On her end. Knife tapped cutting board. Steady and domestic. Dinner sounds. Safe sounds. I almost let it go. Then I saw Nolan again, yellow envelope under his arm. Visitor's sticker crooked. Smile arriving half second late. So I said, keeping my voice light, is Nolan back yet? Chopping stopped. Only 2 seconds. Maybe. But silence has weight when you know someone well enough to hear it drop. Back? She asked. From Cincinnati. A dog barked near her phone. Peanut? Their neighbor's anxious stare. Mara exhaled. And chopping started again. Faster. No, HES still there, she said. Home tomorrow night. My hand froze over receipt from Ridgeway Pharmacy, where I had bought Mom's blood pressure pills and lemon drops because she said medicine tasted like pennies. Tomorrow? I repeated. Yeah? Vendor meth. You know how he gets when people don't answer emails. Her laugh came thin. Why? I folded receipt once. Then again. No reason. I thought I saw him today. Chopping stopped for good. Where? At Willowden. Nothing came through except faint refrigerator hum. Then Mara said, you probably saw someone else. Too quick. I called his name. I said, he answered. Another pause. Shorter. Worse. Oh, right. She cleared her throat. He did mention maybe swinging by before leaving. I forgot. Some forms for Mr. Alvarez. Church thing. I can sound better after first draft. Hers had seams. You said he was still in Cincinnati. I meant officially. Knife clattered into sink. God. Elise. I don't know. He drives everywhere. He helps everybody. I can't track every errand. My kitchen smelled like paper dust and cold chamomile. Dishwasher was done, but clean plates still sat inside. Warm once. Cold now. I was accusing him. I said. I know. Her voice softened too fast. Sorry. Money's been awful. Dad's new aid costs more than they said. And Nolan's covering gaps I didn't even know about. He gets up at 4 and sits on couch with calculator. I looked at Mom's receipts. Copays. Wipes. Cream. New socks because laundry swallowed old ones. Care always turned into math. That sounds hard, I said. Because it did. It is. Her breath shook. Nolan is trying. Elise. AHES not perfect, but HES right. Defense before charge. I rubbed them over ink until numbers blurred. Did he say why he was near records? Record? Locked room by admin. Mara went quiet. This time, no chopping rescued us. No dog. No sink. Just distance. I don't know, she said finally. Maybe he was lost. Nolan had fixed faucets in that building. Delivered cinnamon rolls to 3rd floor. Found Mom's room without asking. He was not lost. But I didn't say that. Can we not do this tonight? Mara whispered. I burned garlic. Dad keeps calling because remote won't work. And I have 17 things in my head. Sure, I said. Relief rushed into her voice. I'll call tomorrow. After we hung up, I sat with receipts spread before me like evidence I had no right to collect. Outside, headlights slid across cabinets and disappeared. I told myself there were explanations. Good ones, tired ones, human ones. But my phone stayed warm in my hand, and Mara's silence kept replaying louder than anything she said. Next morning, before work, I drove to Mom's little ranch house with coffee cooling in my cup holder and a tight, sour feeling under my ribs. I told myself I was checking one thing. Last week, a man in a gray hoodie had walked onto her porch, stared into the doorbell camera, then left without knocking. Mom had laughed it off. Maybe he was lost, she had said. Everybody looks lost now. Her Wi-Fi password was still written inside her crossword notebook in blue marker. I sat at her kitchen table, beneath clock that always ran 6 minutes slow. An open doorbell app. First clips were nothing. Mail carrier. Neighbor's cat. Mom fumbling with groceries and keys. Then Nolan appeared. Not at Williden. At Mom's front door. Thursday. 2:14. He stood on her porch holding a white bakery box tied with red string. He leaned toward camera and smiled. Afternoon, Mrs. D, he called. Elise asked me to bring these by. My hand went cold around coffee. Mom opened door in her pale green sweater. Reading glasses pushed onto her head. Nolan lifted box. Butter cookies, he said, from Maple Street. Oh, she shouldn't have, Mom said. She wanted you to have them fresh. I had not sent cookies. He stepped inside. Clip ended. I scrolled to next alert. 23 minutes later. Door opened again. Nolan came out first. Bakery box gone. Under his arm was a manila folder, thin but full enough to bend. Mom followed, holding her blue ink pen with padded grip. The one she used when arthritis made regular pens hurt. You tell Elise I signed where she put little tabs, Mom said. Nolan's smile stayed fixed. I sure will. And next time she can ask me herself, Mom added, teasing, of course. She was slammed today. I paused video. Kitchen around me stayed same rooster towel. Brown bananas. Dentist reminder under Myrtle Beach magnet, but air felt spoiled. Mom shuffled in from hallway in slippers and robe. You're early, she said. Did we have appointment? No. I turned phone toward her. Did Nolan come here last week? Mara's Nolan? Sure. Sweet boy. Brought cookies. He said I asked him to. She reached for glasses on her head, then looked embarrassed by her own confusion. Well, didn't you? No? Her face folded inward. Not fear first. Shame. Like being tricked meant she had failed. He had forms, she whispered. Said you were busy and needed my signature. What forms? I don't know. Honey, he showed me yellow stickers. I thought you put them there. I stood too fast. Chair scraped tile. Mom flinched, and anger hit me so hard I had to swallow it. Did he leave copies? I asked softer. We searched junk drawer, coupon basket, counter pile, batteries, rubber bands, expired menus. No copies. Only empty butter cookie box and trash. Red string curled inside. Mom sat down slowly. Elise, she said. What did I sign? I looked at frozen frame of Nolan leaving with papers under his arm. I don't know. But fear had shape now. It was carrying my mother's signature. By morning, I had called Williden twice and left one message so polite, it sounded like it belonged to someone else. Then I drove to Mom's house and found her at the kitchen table, dressed for the day, her reading glasses low on her nose. Your friend's husband left this, she said. It was not hidden, not even folded. A glossy flyer sat beneath her sugar bowl. Williden's spring memory auction. Tulips around the border, smiling volunteers in matching green shirts. Across the top, someone had highlighted, donations support residents without family assistance. My anger lost its footing. Stapled behind it was a donor form with Mom's name printed in careful bluing. Item description: antique walnut writing desk, embroidered linens, brass lamp pair. Pickup date pending family review. Family review. I read those words until they blurred. The desk had been my father's. He wrote every birthday card there, bent close, tongue pressed to his teeth like kindness took muscle. Mom still dusted it every Sunday, though now it held coupons, old church bulletins, and a ceramic robin with one chipped wing. I thought it was for charity. She said, for people who don't have someone checking on them. Did you want to give it away? She looked toward hall, toward room where desk waited under lace runners she made before arthritis curled her fingers. I don't know. Nolan said I could think. He said nothing would happen unless you agreed. That was first thing that sounded almost decent. I called Mara from porch because I didn't want Mom hearing my voice shake. She answered fast. Elise? I found forms. The auction? She said, and sighed like she had been carrying it all night. You knew? Nolan told me after your call. Willett Des Hardship Fund is nearly empty. HES been helping Pastor Ren collect donations. Furniture, jewelry, old china. Stuff families don't want but somebody will bid on. He told my mother I asked him to come. Silence stretched. That was wrong, Mara said. I'm not defending that. But she did. Gently. With every next sentence. Nolan was embarrassed. Nolan knew I was overwhelmed. Nolan planned to bring me in before pickup. Nolan had spent 3 Saturdays hauling dining sets from garages without charging anyone. While she talked, I leaned my forehead against porch post. Paint flaked onto my skin. Across street, man in slippers dragged trash cans to curb. As if world had not tilted at all. Mari mailed thread while we were still on phone. Subject: spring memory auction, volunteer intake. Dates, names, church account. Scanned page with Mom's signature and yellow sticky flags. Shame came slow, then hard. I thought he was using her. I said. I know, Mara whispered. I might have thought same thing. That mercy made it worse. After we hung up, I carried papers to Dad's desk and tried to stack them neatly. Drawer stuck. Like always. I lifted, pulled, and it jumped open. Stamps, fountain pen, rubber bands gone brittle, and one loose page. Same blue ink. Same yellow highlighting. Not donation inventory. I saw only top corner before Mom called. Toast? I slid page under flyer. Pulse knocking one's heart. Everything had explanation now. Almost everything. The call came while Mom was buttering toast with that shaky patience that made my chest hurt. Is this Elise? A woman asked. I stepped into the hall. Yes. This is Tasha from Willett. I need to verify something before we update your mother's file. What update? We received signed authorization changing primary emergency contact and adding someone approved to receive medical updates. My eyes found Mom through the doorway. Robe sleeve dusted with crumbs. Who? I asked. Nolan Price. My hand closed around the phone. No. Mom looked up. His voice softened. That's why I called. We have you listed as daughter and healthcare contact. The form had your mother's signature, but no staff witness. When did it arrive? Yesterday afternoon. It was in our intake folder with auction paperwork. Yellow tabs. Butter cookies. Red string. Mom's blue pen. What does it give him? Not decision-making power. But he could receive appointment details. Condition changes. Medical updates. If staff didn't catch it, he could be called before you. Before me. Something cold moved through my ribs. I never approved that. I said. My mother didn't understand it. I'm removing it from pending and flagging her chart. Please come in. We need signatures compared into formal note. Mom appeared in the hall with toast on her floured plate. Honey? It'll be there in 30 minutes, I told Tasha. After I hung up, Mom stood still, crumb at corner of her mouth. What happened? I wanted to lie to protect her, not to save Nolan. To save the small woman in slippers from knowing her rust had been used like loose change. Instead, I held out the paper it found. Do you remember signing this? She set plate on console table. Butter showed on her fingers as she took it. Her lips moved over words. Emergency contact. Medical information. Authorized party. I thought, she swallowed. I thought it was for chairs. I know. He said you were making folder. He said if something happened at home. Everybody needed quick names. My knees felt unreliable. Mom's eyes filled. But she didn't cry. Worse, she looked ashamed. Like age itself had betrayed me. The print was small. She whispered. Mom? No. I should have called you. He should not have asked you. Silence turned heavy. From kitchen. Toaster clicked with no bread inside. I called Mara. She answered fast. Breathless. Hey, did you see my email? This isn't about auction. What? I need Nolan's number. Now. Elise. What happened? I closed my eyes. I could picture her chip blue mug, her crowded calendar, her iron hands. I loved her. That made my anger sharper. Your husband had my mother sign medical access forms. No, she said. No, that can't be right. It is. He wouldn't. Mara. One word. Years of birthdays, waiting rooms, burnt casseroles, funeral whispers, all pressed into it. She went silent. Then, small ill asked him. No, don't ask like this is misplaced mail. Tell him I'm going to Willowdon. If he has any paper with my mother's name on it, he brings it there today. Mom sank onto hallway bench and covered her mouth. Mara whispered, please don't make this public until I know. I looked at Mom's bent shoulders. At Dad's coat still hanging by door because neither of us had been brave enough to move it. It became public. I said, when he put himself between me and my mother. Willowdon looked too bright for what I was carrying. Sun flashed on the glass doors. A volunteer watered geraniums in a blue apron. Inside, someone laughed near the puzzle table. And the sound made me angry because my mother was gripping my sleeve like she might fall through the floor. Nolan was already there. He stood by reception in a gray sweater, hair combed, face pale. Mara was beside him, phone in one hand. Other hand pressed her stomach. She looked at me, then at my mother, and whatever speech she had brought with her disappeared. Where are they? I asked. Nolan lifted a folder. Elise, I can explain. No. I said, you can hand it to Denise. Denise, the administrator, led us into a small conference room that smelled like coffee and printer toner. Certificates lined the wall. A bowl of peppermints sat untouched in the center of the table. My mother took the chair closest to the door. Nolan set the folder down but kept 2 fingers on it. Denise noticed. Mr. Vale. His hand lifted. Inside were copies. Emergency contact changes. Medical release forms. Transportation authorizations. My mother's signature sat at the bottom of each page in that careful blue slant I knew from grocery lists and birthday cards. Mara whispered, Nolan. He rubbed his face. I was trying to fix something before it got worse. I laughed once. It sounded nothing like me. By getting access to my mother. No, not like that. He looked at Mom. Mrs. Harlan. I'm sorry. My mother stared at the table. Denise slid one sheet closer. Why would you need transportation authorization? Nolan swallowed. Because I needed reasons to enter resident rooms without questions. The room went still. Mara pushed back from the table. What? He turned to her. Eyes wet. I didn't take anything from Elise's mom. Not at first. At first, I said. He flinched. Denise's voice went flat. Mr. Vale. Choose words carefully. Nolan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small zip bag. Gold flashed inside, thin and dull under fluorescent light. Mara covered her mouth. My dad's bills, he said. Rehab, medication, loans. I was drowning. I started selling items from storage cleanouts. Donated things. Then I blurred what was donated and what wasn't. That is theft, Denise said. He nodded fast, as if agreement could shrink it. My mother's hand found mine. Her fingers were gold. I stared at the bag. Whose ring is that? Nolan closed his eyes. Denise answered. Evelyn Pratt's family called this morning. She passed last week. Her wedding ring is missing. Mara made a sound I had never heard before. Nolan shook his head. I was going to put it back. Put it back where? I asked. He looked at my mother, and truth reached me before words did. My mother's thumb moved to her bare ring finger. She had told me Dad's been hurt her swollen knuckle. I believed her. I bought a velvet box for her dresser. Nolan whispered. I took your mother's ring by mistake during inventory. I thought it was costume jewelry in a dish with old pins. I pawned it before I realized. Air left my body. Mara gripped the chair. You told me you sold your watch. I was going to get it back, he said. I needed another ring for photos, for pickup records, so no one noticed while I bought hers back. My mother made one small broken noise. Not scream, not sob. Just my father's whole life leaving her hand all over again. For a while, nobody moved. Denise stepped into hallway to make calls. Her shoes clicked away, steady and professional. Nolan sat with his head in his hands. Mara stood behind him with one palm pressed to her mouth, staring at him like he had become a stranger in her husband's jacket. Mom kept holding my hand. That was what broke me. Not Nolan. Not forms. Not stolen paper. It was her thumb rubbing mine in small circles, comforting me, while her own wedding ring was gone. I'm sorry, Nolan said. No one answered. He tried again. June. I swear I didn't know it was yours at first. My mother looked at him with hospital room quiet. You knew it was mine when you didn't bring it back, she said. Nolan lowered his eyes. Mara stepped toward him, then stopped. I could see war inside her body. Wife, witness, friend, woman who had built whole life on believing apologies meant repair. I wanted to hate her for hesitating. Then I remembered every night she sat with me when Mom got confused. Soup after Dad's funeral. 40-minute drive after I texted. I can't do today. Love did not vanish because someone else had dirtied room. But trust could. Mom pulled her cardigan tighter. I want to go home. Okay, I said. In parking lot, sun had dropped behind senior center roof. Cars looked gray. Geraniums by front doors sagged in heat. Mom walked slowly, not weak, but careful, as if each step asked her body to accept another loss. At passenger door, she stopped. Your father bought that ring from man at county fair, she said. Turned my finger green first week. I laughed once, wet and small. He said he'd replace it when he got rich. She touched bare knuckle. Then he never got rich, so he polished it with toothpaste every anniversary. Keys cut into my palm. I should have watched closer, I said. Mom turned sharp. No. Mom? No. You are my daughter, not my guard dog. Her voice shook, but held. Something inside me unclenched and hurt worse. Through glass doors, Mara stood alone in lobby, arms wrapped around herself. She knew? Mom asked. I don't know. Honest. Terrible. Mom nodded. Then don't decide tonight. We drove home without radio. At stoplight, she reached for my hand again. Her finger was naked, pale line where gold had been. I stared at that mark until light turned green. For first time since phone call, I understood this was bigger than getting ring back. Some things could be recovered. Some could only be named, held to light, and never allowed near your family again. By the time we got home, the soup I had left on the stove had gone cold, a dull skin forming over it like it had been waiting for bad news. Mom sat at the kitchen table while I changed the code on her medication lockbox. My fingers slipped on the tiny buttons. 3 numbers, she asked. 6 now. She nodded like that made sense, like nothing about our evening had cracked open. I called Denise first, then the officer whose card she had given me. I said Nolan's name. I said Mara's name when they asked who had called before. Each word felt heavy enough to dent the floor. Mara called 17 times. I let it ring until Mom said, answer once. So I did. Her breath came in sharp pieces. Elise, Elise. Please, tell them he was with us. He made a horrible mistake, but he is not a monster. I looked at my mother's bare hand around a mug she hadn't touched. He used my mother, I said. He was scared. So was she. Silence. Then Mara whispered, "You're going to ruin my family." Something in me still wanted to apologize. Birthdays. Waiting rooms. Cheap coffee after awful days. Years of being the person she called before anyone else. But Mom's blue ink signature burned behind my eyes. Evelyn Pratt's missing ring. Nolan holding that folder like truth could be pressed flat if his hands were steady enough. "No," I said. "He did that. I won't help cover it." Mara cried then. Not furious, just broken. That was worse. I gripped the counter and stared at the pile I had gathered Mom's spare keys, her visitor badge, the old emergency contact sheet, a handwritten letter to Mara I already knew I would never send. "I love you," I said, because it was still true. "But if you ask me to lie again, I won't answer." She hung up. Later, I deleted Nolan's access from Mom's online care portal. I gave Denise a new contact list. I put Mom's papers in a red folder and wrote DONOTS, IGNWITHOUT, LISE across the front in black marker. Mom watched from the doorway. "You hungry?" she asked. I looked at the cold soup. 2 bowls waiting. Spoons and touch. "No." She came over anyway and turned on the burner. The flame clicked, caught, and held. By spring, Mom knew where every paper was. The red folders stay on her kitchen table. Not hidden, not shameful. Denise called every other Friday with updates. Her voice soft enough for bad news and firm enough for forms. Nolan's case moved slowly, the way official things do. But his name no longer opened doors in my mother's life. We never got Dad's ring back. The pawnshop had sold it before anyone understood what it was. I thought that would break Mom all over again. Instead, one morning, she took the empty velvet box from her dresser and set it beside the basil plant in the window. "Something can be gone," she said, pinching off a leaf, "and still not belong to the person who took it." I had no answer. Mara didn't call. Not on birthdays. Not when I passed her street and almost turned in from habit. I kept one old photo of us in my drawer, face down beneath takeout menus and spare keys. Then one night, while the kettle trembled on the stove, my phone lit up. I'm starting to understand. No apology. No excuse. No request for rescue. I read it 3 times. Mom laughed softly in the living room at an old game show, hands folded in her lap, bare finger resting in plain sight. On the counter, 2 mugs waited, one for her, one for me. I typed slowly. "I hope you keep going." My thumb hovered. Then I added "I'm not ready to talk yet, but I'm glad you told the truth." I sent it before I could make it easier. The kettle whistled. I turned off the flame, poured water, and watched steam rise between me and the dark window. For the first time in months, silence did not feel stolen. It felt like room.